To be effective, risk assessments must help pilots identify not only the hazards, but also the appropriate risk mitigation procedures. Risk assessments are an integral part of risk management, and risk management is the cornerstone of any good safety management system. There are several risk assessment methods available to pilots. These methods attempt to assess risk in an objective manner, yet they all have serious drawbacks. The risk matrix is one of the most popular methods. Using the matrix, risk is based on the severity and likelihood of the hazard. For example, a catastrophic outcome with an improbable likelihood would be considered a medium risk. However, if the likelihood was considered remote instead of improbable, then the risk level would increase to serious. Notice how easy it is to get the desired answer simply by changing the likelihood. Another method is the risk scoring template. This method uses numerical values to rank hazards. For example, a wet runway may receive a risk value of 3. These numbers are then added together in order to determine the overall risk of the flight. The higher the score, the higher the risk. This method can be deceiving because a low risk can actually be a high risk if the pilot does not know the appropriate risk mitigation procedures. For example, frozen precipitation may only have a risk value of 3, but if a pilot does not understand de-icing procedures, then the outcome can be tragic. The FAA also describes a variety of acronyms that are simple to remember but too broad to be meaningful. The biggest problem with these methods is that they are subjective. They depend entirely on a pilot's ability to perceive hazards. The problem is that if the pilot does not have the experience to correctly perceive the hazard, then there is no way he or she can apply the appropriate risk mitigation procedures. Another problem is that our memory is not perfect. It is impossible to remember everything we've ever learned. The information we can retain decreases over time. To be useful, this information must constantly be refreshed. In short, a color, a number, or an acronym simply does not give you the information you need to make smart decisions. FlightRisk can help. Our philosophy is if you give pilots good information, they will make good decisions. FlightRisk analyzes hundreds of pieces of information in order to identify the hazards relating to your flight. Once the hazards are identified, FlightRisk searches a database of publications in order to find the appropriate risk mitigation procedures. FlightRisk focuses on publications because they contain the lessons learned from years of accident analysis. These publications improve safety because they establish thresholds for various hazards. For example, an AFM may require a tactile check when the temperature is less than 10 degrees Celsius. This automated risk assessment, coupled with our innovative post-flight feedback system, is an objective way to identify hazards and mitigate risks. This helps you to focus on the risks that are most relevant to your flight. Better information leads to better decisions, and better decisions result in better safety. According to FAA Advisory Circular 60-22, the most important decision a pilot will make is to learn to adhere to published rules, procedures, and recommendations. By doing so, pilots can take most hazards out of flying. So before you fly, don't do a risk assessment. Do a flight risk assessment. FlightRisk. It's easy, it's fast, and it improves safety.